How do you tell a love story after it's over? Do you just say, he loved her, and, close the book on that chapter of your life? Or do you say he loved her in a way that lets the ghost of that feeling linger in the room? Well, in Spanish, that huge choice comes down to just one single verb. Now, before we dive in, if you enjoy stories like this, please follow the channel and share this video. It genuinely helps this page grow and allows me to create more stories for you. Okay, let's get right into it. At first glance, these two phrases look almost identical, right? La quiso mucho and la quería mucho. They both seem to mean he loved her very much. But one tells a finished story, a memory that's been locked away in a box. The other describes a feeling that still echoes, a love that was an entire state of being. And really getting that difference is the key to mastering the art of storytelling in Spanish. Now, we could pull up all the complicated grammar charts with all the conjugations and rules, but where's the fun in that? Instead, we're going to tell a story about a perfect first date, a memory that's so vivid, so powerful, it almost feels like it just happened yesterday. So here's the challenge. I want you to imagine you have this incredible memory that you want to share with someone, but you have two different cameras to film it with, two different Spanish past tenses. And each camera has its own very specific, very strict limitations. Your job is to be the director. Okay, let's grab our first camera. This one is the preterite tense. And I want you to think of it as your action camera. It's direct, it's factual, and it only captures one thing, a sequence of completed events. Boom, boom, boom. It just gets right to the point. So the most important thing to remember here is that the preterite is all about the plot. It tells you what happened, one finished action right after another. It's the engine that literally moves the story from point A to point B to point C. It's the skeleton of your entire narrative. All right, so if we film our perfect first date using only this action camera, what does it look like? Well, we get this. Luis Alejandro arrived at 8. He brought me flowers. We went to a restaurant. We ordered pasta. We talked and laughed. See what I mean? It's just a series of facts. Action, action, action. And this shows us the problem perfectly. I mean, the story is technically correct. Every single fact is there, but it feels like you're just reading a report. It's all plot, but there's no soul. There's no feeling, no atmosphere. It's a skeleton, sure, but there's no life in it. Okay, let's put that camera down and pick up our second one. This is the imperfect tense. And if the preterite was our action cam, this one is our dream camera. It doesn't capture what happened. No, it captures what was happening. It films the atmosphere, the feelings, the whole scene itself. Notice the big idea here is ongoing. The imperfect tense describes the entire world of the story. It's like the background music in a film, the setting, the emotions swirling around. It isn't the plot. It's the whole world that the plot is taking place in. So, let's try this again. Let's film our date, but this time only with the dream camera. What do we get? I was so nervous. He looked handsome. He was wearing a sweater. It was a Friday night. There were a lot of people. I was trembling. You can really feel the emotion in this one, can't you? You can see the scene. But what actually happened? This version is all atmosphere, but the plot is totally gone. It's like this beautiful, evocative, but ultimately really confusing dream. The story just doesn't go anywhere. It's all soul, but there's no skeleton to hold it all together. So what does a good director do? Well, they don't choose one camera over the other. They use both. They understand that a truly great story needs both plot and atmosphere, both action and emotion. So it's time for us to create the director's cut. I absolutely love this metaphor. The preterite is the car, the engine that's moving us down the road of the story. The imperfect, that's the scenery we see passing by outside, all the details that make the journey rich and memorable. You absolutely need both. Okay, so let's rebuild our story. We start with the preterite, the action camera, to get the plot moving. Action! Luis Alejandro arrived and brought me flowers. Just like that, we have our first plot points. The story has officially begun. Now, right as that action is happening, we switch to our dream camera, the imperfect. We pause the forward motion just for a second to paint a picture for the audience. He looked so handsome. He was wearing a sweater that brought out his eyes. Instantly, the story has depth and color. We've set the scene, so what happens next? We go back to the action camera. Preterite. We went to the restaurant. Boom! The plot moves forward again. Another key event has happened and it's complete. And once we arrive at this new location, what do? We switch right back to the imperfect to describe the world around that action. Since it was a Friday, there were a lot of people. You see how they work together, hand in hand? Action, then description. Action, then background. That is storytelling. And this brings us all the way back to where we started. Because once you understand this beautiful dance between plot and atmosphere, you realize this isn't just some boring grammar rule. It's an artistic choice, a choice with real emotional weight, a choice that can completely define a memory. So let's look at our two phrases one last time. La quiso mucho, using the preterite, treats love like a completed action. It happened, it had a beginning, it had an end. The story is over. But la quería mucho, in the imperfect, that doesn't talk about an action at all. It describes a state. It invites you back into the memory to feel what that love was like while it was happening.
What this all boils down to is that the choice you make changes everything. The preterite gives you a fact. The memory becomes a closed book on a shelf. The imperfect gives you a feeling. The memory becomes a ghost, one that's still present, still felt in the room.
And ultimately, Spanish asks you, the storyteller, to decide. When you tell your stories, what are you really trying to share? Is a memory just a fact from the past, or is it a ghost you can still feel today? If this story moved you or made you think differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And follow the channel for more stories just like this.